Michael Hagler, president of a company called Lumenalta. We do custom software, data, AI development. We partner with a bunch of clients across a wide variety of industries, but our sweet spot is really logistics, supply chain. Have a long-standing history with Redwood, building out a bunch of internal as well as external platforms and supporting some overlapping customers. And excited to talk about some of the things we've been learning over a very interesting past few years.
Nice to meet everybody. My name's Mike Reed. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Redwood Logistics. I've known Michael here for quite a while, and our businesses have partnered on a many number of things in the past, so we're excited to get into that. We have a pretty large 3PL presence. We've been in that space for about 20 of that 25 years, and have really grown, unlike some of our competitors, on the technology side of it.
Redwood got a very early start before AI was in the conversation, right? You guys maybe just saw the future, and you were probably the only client circa 2016, 2017 I was working with where you guys were making very expensive capital-heavy investments on a CapEx basis that allowed you to unlock magical things today, but very few people were doing that. What was the genesis there?
What it really boils down to is starting to solve some of the hardest problems for our customers. And when we start really getting into the root of logistics, maybe think 5, 6, 7 years ago, a lot of it was, what is the best technology? How do I bring in multiple pieces of logistics technology into their ecosystem? How do I evolve? How do I change? I'm seeing these new startups starting to come into this space. And I don't know how to do that as a shipper, as a 3PL, as a logistics service provider. I'm struggling along that journey. So we said, hey, well, what is the common theme here? What's the red thread in that journey? And for a lot of our customers, it was data integration. I have a lot of independent silos, different groups, maybe different companies that I bought over the years. How do I help to unify that data to be able to start doing other things with it? And then obviously we're going to talk about AI and how that pulls in today. But we went on a journey to really help our customers to be able to go and do just that. When you think about that, and we've had this with a number of our customers, I think one, first and foremost, and you kind of alluded to this, is the change management aspect right up front. As a partner is coming in to help, whether on the engineering or the technology side, how do you think about coaching, right, in terms of what is the change management going to look like, regardless of what the project is? Because to your point, that can drastically, right, the technology might completely work, but if you don't think about the change management aspect, the actual ROI might be zero, right, or negative by the time it's all said and done.
So it's so funny you mentioned the phrase change management, because I've been doing this, we've now been in business for almost 25 years. We never got asked for formal change management services until 19 months ago. It was like, oh yeah, that's not a thing. And now coaching is so important. And I'd say for everybody, right? If you're not coaching up in terms of setting expectations super freaking low on what you're actually gonna get out of the system, but also setting expectations on a very realistic sense of, hey, we're about to make an investment in AI readiness, in data engineering, and actually building an AI-enabled future, right? You need to be very keen on understanding what the ongoing CapEx, life cycle, and expectation setting realities are on all of those things. Otherwise, you're either bound to be very disappointed, or you're going to build a rocket ship and then not be able to have fuel to continue to keep it flying.
As Michael stated, we've worked with a key partner of ours who happens to be sitting with us, and we embarked on a multi-stage journey, which we can talk about in a little bit as well, on building an enterprise iPaaS product. Well, what is an enterprise iPaaS product? It sounds very complicated. It's basically a way of bringing and harmonizing data, and you think about MuleSoft, if you guys are familiar with that term, right? It's things about taking data from different other software providers, unifying them together, integrating them at speed and at ease. We went down that journey and we built one, and we have the only logistics-facing enterprise iPaaS in the market. And it has proven its weight in gold because we are now able to get into a lot of these complex use cases, right? Because we made that investment and we now have that, and it's just proven invaluable over time.
7, 8 years ago, nobody was coming to me and saying, hey, I want to spend a bucket full of money on data engineering. Really hard to show ROI to your board.
And people, when they think about ROI, we just think about value, but the complexity is a factor that you have to take into account, because you might have something that's incredibly high value and incredibly high complexity. Don't start there. But some of the best things that we've done is actually, one has been on the engineering front. being able to drive productivity out of our engineering team. Now we're talking about very smart individuals and making them, that much more smarter and that much more efficient at what they do. And I don't want to say we've had a 2-for-1, but there is a lot of intrinsic value that's driven out of efficiency and quality from that standpoint.
The system is only as smart as the inputs you're constantly giving to it and as how rich you're maintaining your data that it's feeding off of. And the second you stopped correcting the plan to say, oh no, client X is now more important than client B, right? Or, oh no, this is an exception that we didn't have before and now we need to solve for. You instead start getting very, very frustrated at your system, but you need to treat it like a living, breathing organism where you're constantly growing and investing in it, right? I am a big believer that the way you win in the AI game is not by wedding yourself to a tool, right? It's not by saying our company's made a big bet and we've bought enterprise license to ChatGPT and we're going super deep here, right? But it's actually taking a step back, building an abstraction layer, right? Away from your applications and away from your data, where you still own your own data, and learning how to use the tools themselves, right? Understanding prompt engineering, understanding the differences between tools, and most importantly, creating a future, because it's so cheap too these days, where the world is interoperable, right? Where you're no longer say, oh, my company's an AWS company, my company's an Azure company, right? That's fine for your cloud, but it's not fine for your AI provider. It's not fine for your model of choice. And the way I see the future, and I'm curious how you guys see it at Redwood, is actually interoperable, right? It's, hey, we're using ChatGPT as our model. No, now we're switching it out for Claude. We're switching it out for Llama, right? How are we able to pivot between models really, really quickly? And I actually regularly go, and I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen the website, but I usually go on a website called Chatbot Arena, which allows you to ask one question and get results from many models all at once. And to me, right, the fact that you could see that reaction, it's totally not useful for work, but it's a good way to screw around and see what's out there. Right. It's fun. But it should also give you an idea, that's the way your company should be approaching AI in the future, right? You should be able to switch models with a configuration, with a click, right? You shouldn't say we're the AWS shop. That's fine for your cloud, but we're not the Claude shop. We're not the OpenAI shop, right? We're the whatever the heck is most convenient, cheapest, and giving us the best answers today shop, while retaining all of our own data and actually controlling our own destiny.